So an if statement is a way in a computer program to do something if a certain condition is true. So, for example, you might want to show the login screen if a user is not logged in. Or you might want to say game over when the user has no lives left, or something like that. So it's a very basic statement in computer programming. You need it all over the place. So it's a really important one to learn. And Swift uses it in a very standard way. It's very similar to JavaScript, in fact, from the point of view of a web developer. So let's see how a basic if statement might work. Let's first of all create a variable. So we'll have a number and we'll set that number equal to 2. Very simple. So all we do is we say if number, now we use double equals to represent is equal to. I'll explain why in a second. So if, and then in brackets, number is equal to 2, and then we use curly brackets like that to contain all the things we want to do if the number is equal to 2. So for now, we'll just output println number is 2. So not the most exciting thing to do, but it'll do for now. And then let's bring back our editor. And there's our console output, number is 2. So first of all, what's this strange double equals about? Well, if we use a single equals, then remember the construction number is equal to 2 is actually the statement which sets the number or the variable number equal to 2. So we need a different statement for something which checks if the number is equal to 2 as against something which actually sets the variable number to 2. So that double equals is what checks whether number is equal to 2. In fact, in Swift, we get an error if we try and use this. In some programming languages, you can do it, but it is a bit pointless because this will always be true because we can always set number equal to 2. So if you want to do an if statement, you need a double equals. And then we can just make sure that indeed it is checking whether number is equal to 2, because we could change number to 3, and then you'll see we don't get any output. So that's your basic structure of an if statement. If, and then some kind of condition, and then if that's true, then do something. Now we can change around this condition a little bit. What about if we wanted to say if number was greater than 2? Then print, let's say, condition is true this time. So is number greater than 2? Yes, it is, because number is equal to 3. Therefore, the condition is printed, or outputted in this case. What about if we want something to happen if this isn't true? Well, that's quite easy to do. We just use the else command. So else, and then again, we contain it within curly brackets. Let's have println, let's keep it simple, and condition is false. There we go. So at the moment we should get condition is true, but if it turns out that it's not true at any point, then we'll get condition is false as our output. Okay, so condition is true, excellent. Let's just play around with this a little bit more. So if we say is number less than 2, then we get condition is false. If we say number is less than 3, it's still false because 3 is not less than 3, but we could change this to less than or equal to. And now the condition is true because 3 is equal to 3, so that condition is true. Okay, we can add conditions together. So maybe we want, let's have a new var other number equals 5. So here we would use the AND operator, which is 2 AND signs, that's shift 7, and we add our other condition, so other number is equal to 5, and that's true. So in this now, both of these have to be true for our success condition to run. So other number equals 7, for example. Now it's false, because both of them have to be true. Now, if we only want one of them to have to be true, we can use the OR operator. So that's two vertical lines, which on a Mac is Shift and then backslash next to the Enter key, but find it somewhere on your keyboard. So it's two of those, and now only one of them has to be true. So because number is equal to 3, this one is true, then we get condition is true. They don't both have to be true. So we could use this for less than or greater thans as well. So let's say if we want number to be between, let's say number has to be greater than 1 and also less than 7. Maybe we want number to be in a certain range, then the output is true. Otherwise it's false. Okay, one more thing. We can have multiple if statements all together. So we might have if number is greater than 1 or number is less than 7, then do something else. If number is greater than 8, then do something else. Let's just set this out. I think I'm going to change that to an and there. So this would be now number is greater than 1 and number is less than 7. So essentially number would be 3, 4, 5, or 6. Those are the possibilities. Else, number is 9 or more. And we could have an extra one. We can have as many as we like of this, but we may just have a final number is something else. Okay, so at the moment we've got number is 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. If we change that to 10, for example, then we'd get the 9 or more. If we change it to 0, we're going to get the something else, because it's not one of these numbers, it's not 9 or more, it's something else. So that's how the if statement works. We can now actually use that to fix something that was a problem in our cat app in the last chapter. So I'm going to switch over to that app and let's have a quick look at how we can use if to fix a problem that we had in the app. So if I go into chapter 3 and cat years and then load up the project. If you remember, we used the unwrapper, the exclamation mark, to force our script to use this, even though it might cause a problem if someone hasn't actually written a number in there. So let's just see what happens if we, as the user, put something that's not a number into that, and then our script tries to multiply it by 7, which it can't do. So in fact, I could just leave that empty and then press that button. See, bad things happen. So we've got an error, it's crashed, we've got all sorts of error messages, disaster, really bad. We don't want that. So we can actually fix that quite easily using an if statement. So let's get back over to our viewcontroller.swift. In fact, let's bring that back in and bring back the storyboard and viewcontroller.swift so we can see what's going on. So it didn't like this because it was trying to multiply something that didn't exist by 7. So what we can do is create an if statement, and it's very simple. We just say if age, and then what that does is just checks whether or not age exists, whether it has a value. So if it does, then all is fine, and we can sort this out. So if age exists, that we can multiply it by 7 and then display the message text that we wanted to. If it doesn't, then the obvious thing to do would be just to display a message to the user asking them to enter a number. So we can just say message.text equals please enter a number in the box. Very simple. So most importantly, our app won't crash, but also it will give the user an idea of what they've done wrong. So this is something that you need to build into every app. You need to make it clear if the user makes a mistake or does something that you don't expect. Definitely your app shouldn't crash, but also it should give the user some idea of where they went wrong and how they can fix the problem. So let's now try that and see how it looks. So if I now type nothing in there, there's no crashing, it's all very nice, and it says please enter a number in the box. Okay, I could still make another mistake. Please enter a number in the box. Okay, maybe it actually wants me to enter a number. I'll enter 2. Your cat is 14 years old. Brilliant. So we've done a bit of nice error checking there. So firstly, we've learned about that, but we've also used our if statement in a really real way to stop our app crashing and to stop it from confusing the user. Now, I said at the end of the last video that we wouldn't go much further without actually building an app. So you'll be glad to hear in the next video, we'll start using the skills that you've learned to do with arrays and variables, as well as a few if statements to build our first little game.